XRP XCN holders about to be rich. They just don't know it yet. So this is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil, where we keep technical analysis short and sweet. I always like to start with Bitcoin because it controls the market, and you see that it's having this daily push downwards. The 618 retracement is all the way down here at 113. However, I don't believe we're going to hit that low. The 200 EMA is starting to come upwards. We do want to keep it a little bit tighter, and we do want to keep the RSI pushing down a little bit more to get towards the 50 before ultimately having it being bought back up and pushing upwards. With that being said, we're moving on right over to XLM, and XLM had that major push up. We had our sell-off, if you're on my trading signal channel, right around here in this area, around 50, 51 cents, I think 52 actually. And we had that push down. This is necessary to keep a healthy market. We were completely overbought all in this area. Now we are pushing back into the 50 on the RSI. This is why RSI is very important, because it can give you a better idea of what is actually happening in the market. The volume is decreasing. We need to keep that 200 EMA a little bit closer. We see that there's some major support here at 31 cents. And depending on what Bitcoin's going to do, we could see this be crashing back down to around the 35 cents, potentially even a little bit lower to test this as support on the 200 EMA before ultimately taking off back up towards the 64 cents and beyond. So XLM, I'm personally out of it for a little while, waiting to see what the market is actually going to be doing. However, I think we are going to see a little bit more of a retracement and consolidation before ultimately pushing upwards, getting that 200 EMA a little bit closer, and the RSI right around the 50. Moving over to XYO. XYO is always a funky pattern, always long and exaggerated before it has a major pop. So we see it retracing. We've had it hit in between these two dotted red lines, which is exactly where we expected on the previous videos. 31% or a little bit higher increase before coming back down and testing this downward channel as support. Let's see, the 200 EMA, it is now underneath the 200 EMA, so it did not hold support over that. We see last time it had that consolidation and pushed back underneath that 200 EMA. So you could see some support off this up black trend line here. The RSI is actually already at the 50, so we may see a little bit more of support and consolidation off this black downward trend line before trying again to get over that 200 EMA and ultimately pushing up into the two dotted red lines before a little consolidation and then pushing beyond that up to a penny and a half, a little bit over a penny and a half, according to the Fibonacci retracement over here. If we get rid of this other fib, oops, that's the wrong fib to get rid of. We could see starting from this top point, moving down, the Fibonacci retracement is right in between these two solid red lines, around 1.5 to 1.6 cents for XYO. XYO definitely has a long way to go. The RSI is right at the 50. Let's check out volume. There's not much to say on volume. It is decreasing, meaning there's not a whole lot of pressure pushing this downwards. And we could start seeing this consolidate and push back up. Moving on over to a meme coin, XCN and XRP will be in the last of this video. We see Spell coin, where I was talking about potential 40% increase. We knew we were going to get a little bit of rejection and a pressure off this 200 EMA, pushing it back down. The RSI is getting towards the oversold area, not completely oversold. It does have a long way to go. We mainly just want to see it hold support off of this trend line right here, which would be ideal. Depending on what Bitcoin does, we could see it hit a little bit lower, but I believe we are going to get a little bit of support off that consolidation, start pushing up over that 200 EMA, and Spell token has an absolute mayhem of way to go up. I believe in this chart it's around almost 3 cents, which is dropping a zero, and pretty major potential increase. For Spell, we are at a very low price. Just keep in mind it is a meme coin. We expected once it broke this high as it touched once here in August of 2022, second time in 2024, 2 years later, had that push up, major rejection. Here in 2025, we had that break and complete rejection immediately afterwards. So keep in mind, once we start getting towards this high, I mean, it's going to be the fourth touch, but with that in mind, it is a meme coin. It could have that rug pull again and sell off. However, we could have astronomical gains for Spell in the future. Could be quite a while, but meme coins, as you can see, in 1 or 2 days have major pumps up, around 145% on that previous one. Just stacking a little bag of Spell token is not a bad idea once we get a little bit of support off that upward trend line. Moving over to Compound. Compound had that push up. We are now testing that downward channel, and that is what we need to see in order to see that bullish movement upwards. We had that push up. We expected it to hit around 60. That did not happen, and so we saw a retracement here, and we want to see a little bit of support within this area. This is the ideal area for it to get that spring and that major pop upwards. We could see it be pushing past $80 from $49, potentially hitting as low as $40, which would be double money before the ultimate release, back up to $100. So definitely a very long way to go for Compound, as I believe its high is well over $450. Oh, sorry, my bad. Well over $1,000. So we can expect a major increase. We are getting substantial support here. The RSI is looking very healthy, but also I want you to keep in mind, look at that volume. This volume is a lot of volume compared to what we've seen the entire year. So a lot of investments and people putting money into Compound are happening right now. It may take a little bit longer than some of the other tokens, but stacking a bag of Compound is not a bad idea. I definitely have a bag myself, as I expect some major increase for Compound in the near future. Tornado. I've been talking about Tornado since it broke this downward trend line. We had our entry here. Once it started getting support from that downward trend line, here at 750, we are currently at 1080, and it has touched this black trend line, I believe, like 15 times now. Now we are wanting to see a little bit of support off that trend line, which we are getting a little bit of support. Looking at volume, it's very, very stable. We just need to hold this trend line, mainly this trend line right here. As long as this holds, we are in the clear to see Tornado Cash start pushing back upwards towards its high of, I believe, $500 or $460. $10 turning into $460 is not bad. $50 turning into over $1,000 is not bad. Those are both very good risk to reward ratios for this next bull run. Moving on over to XRP. XRP had that pop, the NC hammer sign right here, pushing that way up towards its high. Almost hit its all-time high, I believe it was 385, somewhere in this area. Had that consolidation and needed to push back in. It was necessary to get that RSI clear around the 50. The volume in general is picking up, and we want to see some support off the CM Guppy. This is the fair value gap that is looking to grab some liquidity here. Looking at the Fibonacci retracement, the 0.786 on this blue line, this rejection whenever Trump talked about making a crypto reserve, and that 150% pump with a rejection. We want to see some support in this area. We could see it trace even lower, trying to keep that 200 EMA nice and close. But overall, XRP is not a bad bet. I told you to start buying here around $2, $2.30, $2.60, and you are still in profit if you have bought anywhere in that area. Do not sell out, as this is what they call the shakeout. Shake and bake these people. They buy it up. The people who are smart took some profit, waited for that retracement, and now are looking to re-enter in this area. They're not looking to sell off below $1. Everybody's trying to keep it above that 200 EMA as we see that major support from back in April. It's been getting support off that 200 EMA, and now we're getting a lot of pressure that is going to start pushing XRP up to $4.50, $5, 7, potentially 12, 25. And then a lot of people are going to be selling off there, and then institutions are going to start buying up the crypto when everybody starts getting scared and selling off, and then we're going to see absolute highs. XRP is like Bitcoin back when it was $139 before it pumped to 17,000. Just keep that in mind. XRP gets burned. It's being used in institutions, banks, everything's going to be tokenized and being used with the XRP ledger. So keep stacking your bag, dollar cost average your XRP. Any profits you make, me personally, I try and put more into XRP over the course of time, waiting for that pop up, as we already are from our entries here. Once we broke that downward trend line, it pushed up 59%. We are still 30% in profit from a majority of our entries on XRP. Dollar cost average this for sure. Do not get shaken out. Do not lose your financial wealth. And XCN. The reason people watch this channel, XCN held over that downward wedge, tested it as support along with the 200 EMA, had that nice pop up to around 2 cents before getting rejected and pushing back down towards the 200 EMA. A lot of people are freaking out. Do not freak out. This is very healthy for the market. We are pushed below that 50 on the RSI. The 200 EMA is getting nice and tight, and this is on fire. That 200 EMA is the major support for XCN. So do not sell your bags. If you did not sell up here, I would recommend re-entering here. None of this is financial advice, just keeping that in mind. But we are getting some very strong pressure. Looks like it's going to sell off forever. That's not going to happen. We are going to see this pop like no other, potentially even more than XRP here in this next bull run. So stack your bags for XCN, XRP. You will not regret it in these upcoming months. And that's it for today. Good luck. Have fun with it. Like and subscribe if you want. All references in the links below. If you're trying to trade Tornado Cash, I have a MEXC reference link below. Grass token, free airdrop money, and all that good stuff. I will see you on the next one.